Welcome back, everybody, to All Out Poker's Rebuy and Add-on Tournament, where we are bringing maritime poker action to you. I am your host and commentator, Dave Frazier. Let's take a look at some of the chip stacks here tonight. We have a ton of new faces and a ton of short stacks at this final table. We have our biggest stack, Jean, who is at 337,000. This is the first time we've seen him at a final table. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays. But we cannot forget about Matt, who is the shortest stack at 4 big blinds. He is going to need Lady Luck on his side if he wants to take down this tournament. Let's get into some action. All right, I'm excited to start seeing some of these new players here at the table. Interested to see what kind of hands they might be playing. Looks like action is to Mark here. Looks like he's going to set the tone here. Makes it 20K. Action is to Annie on the big blind. We are playing 4,000, 8,000 with an 8,000 big blind ante. That's really going to put some pressure on some of the small stacks at this final table. And looks like Annie folds the big blind. Hands it over to Mark. Mark takes it down with 10-9 suited there. The action is to Katie now for the next hand. Getting it folded over to Ghislaine, who also lets it go.
I remember it being so indented.
Yeah, that was...
Because there's a hole cut out underneath of it.
But the first time I
Fabric
played,
stretching.
yeah, maybe.
But,
Actions to Matt, the smallest stack at the table here with ace-2 suited. Says now is the time. Shoves in his last 36,000 in chips here.
I mean, it did, but not like that.
Actions to our big stack here. Jean with 9-8 suited. He makes the call. It's actually not a terrible spot for the 9-8 suited. Imagine he's probably thinking he's probably behind anyway. Ooh, and there's the ace on the flop. A great flop for Matt, hitting top pair. It's looking like he's going to take down the pot, and he doubles up. A couple more of those, and he will be back into this game.
The bird spends a lot of time on Facebook. I love him.
She calls us on the Alexa that's down here.
I was.
She asks Alexa.
Actions to Ghislaine here for the next hand. Ace-10 offsuit. I think it makes it 21.
Birds aren't real. That's one of the big ones.
Getting folded to Annie here on the button. King Jack offsuit.
Also, when I put in the bets in here,
She lets it go.
something. So,
And it looks like Ghislaine's going to take down that pot.
yeah, basically.
She's probably not complaining about that.
You're like, if you just announce a bet and it's like, okay, I'm gonna, because I'm usually, I'm terrible at mental math.
That's right. I'm getting to put my first there.
That's why I could never be a dealer.
It's like Bernie,
Yeah. Don't worry, we're
Queen Jack suited. He lets it go.
Can't have a game without talking about Reddit. That's 16.
Surprisingly enough, you don't need to be in that invitation to be good.
It's probably just mostly patterns and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Patterns and bets.
especially with blackjack. When you see
Matt is going to continue with some aggression here. Makes it 16K with a min raise onto Peter in the big blind. Peter's not getting away that easy. Although Matt has him crushed. Ooh, and there's the 6 and the 10. That's going to be dangerous. Both players are short stacked. And Peter shoves all into Matt's bet. Matt's not going to let go top pair here. Peter is in bad shape. He's going to need running cards here or a 6. There's the king. The ace comes down. Peter gets eliminated in 10th place. He is our first player at this final table to take the walk. But Matt, looking at that chip stack, 20 big blinds now. He is back in this tournament. Although we know Pete is eliminated here.
Okay, oh, yeah, sorry. Okay.
We're just gonna double check to make sure. But Peter is eliminated. 10th place.
Peter, thanks for coming.
Giving fist pumps around. But then Katie gets denied the fist pump. Not on purpose, of course. It's a friendly game after all. Action's getting folded around to Matt. Jack 10 offsuit.
Is it 18?
Going to continue with some of this aggression here. It's been working out for him. Put him right back into this game. Jean makes the call here. On the cutoff with Jack 9 suited. Now it's up to the blinds. Gislane's not going anywhere. Makes the call with her big blind. You got 3 ways going to this flop. Neither player hits anything. Matt still has the best hand with Jack 10. I think Jean's gonna try to take a stab at it.
Makes it 24.
Might actually get through here. 24K is the bet. I like his bet sizing here. There's around 64K that was in the pot.
You had a good 30 minutes.
Annie's got ace 4 suited.
I always forget to put my
See if she might get involved in this pot.
YouTube like burning secrets. Yeah.
Just don't forget to look at it.
Makes it 19.
19K is the bet. She's going to go after those blinds and antes. Jean wakes up with pocket 5s right behind Annie. Decides that he's going to 3-bet.
7.
Makes it 47 to go.
Mark doesn't do that.
Now actions to Katie, who has pocket jacks. She does have position here as well. Curious to know what she's going to do. If she's going to 4-bet here, or she's going to play it a little bit slower. She shoves all in for her remaining stack. Imagine the blinds are going to get away from that, which they do. It's a pretty tough spot for Annie. She's going to have to let it go.
123 total.
Jean's might be just be wondering here if it's actually just a coin flip, but wondering if he's actually committed himself to this pot. He makes the call. Jean is looking for a 5 and a 5 only. There's only 1 5 left in the deck, as we see at the top right corner here, where one of the 5s is grayed out, and he doesn't get it. Katie's pocket jacks hold, and she doubles up. Katie would be jumping for joy with that.
Don't say king, queen, or anything.
Puts her now at the biggest stack at the table. She is now the chip leader, 285K. See, Bernie is now our shortest stack here. He's at 5 big blinds. I think it gets folded around to the button.
So fucking journey.
Makes it 18.
18K. Putting some pressure on those blinds. Mark makes the call. The big defender of his big blind. All things considered, that's actually not a terrible flop for Mark. He's got a gut shot, and his 9 and 4 are good.
That is 15.
Although he does have quite a bit of outs that are grayed out here. Ghislaine takes down that pot with a continuation bet. Looks like Peter's gonna finally get involved in a hand.
That is 21.
Makes it 21. Jack 9 suited. Katie here, ace king.
Do 50,000.
3 bets to 50K. The blinds are going to get away from that. Peter's going to have to continue this pot out of position here against the biggest stack at the table. He lets it go. Here now is not the time. Although he only has 59K left in his stack now.
You're lucky, man.
And that sound means the blinds will be up next hand. It's going to make it even worse of a situation here for the small stacks.
Makes it 19.
Feelings are all
And
wrong.
Annie's doing exactly that, putting some pressure on the blinds. Ace 10 suited. It's like Peter is not going anywhere.
So you're like taking a break from poker because you're an emotional poker player? Is that one? Affects your sugars?
Peter's going to need some help.
No.
Check. See a flop. And then
Annie's still with the best hand.
I
Peter only has 1 out left in the deck.
played too many games.
That is not great at all. Annie makes a continuation bet. Takes down the pot.
That's why I took a break. You better. No, I'm gonna take a
Blind eight.
I think Jean's going to get involved. He's grabbing some chips.
That looks like 33.
Makes it 33K to go. Katie with pocket sixes right behind him. She lets it go. Probably doesn't want to get involved with the smaller stacks behind her, but Mark shoves all in here with pocket sevens. His tournament life is on the line. And Sebastian wakes up with pocket queens on the button right behind Mark.
Re-raise all in for 90,000.
Unbelievable. What a pot this has turned out to be.
no, that's not good.
Sean has a chance here to eliminate 2 players from this tournament, and he makes the call. His ace will be good here if he hits it.
Go.
Mark is in terrible shape here, looking for a 7. Oof, and there's the queen. Sebastian hitting a set of queens. There's the jack, giving Sebastian the check mark now.
Take it.
Hitting a boat on the turn.
So I need 90,000.
That's a really good sized pot. Sebastian tripling up.
Pleasure.
Mark ends up getting eliminated here in 9th place. Our very next elimination.
There.
You can only do so much when you're short stack. But we see that puts Sebastian now at the 2nd highest chip stack at the table, 272K.
Yeah, I've never been to a cash game.
Yeah, we'll see.
It looks fun. And I played with most of the people I seen in the videos.
Big stack. Katie
Is 21.
makes it 21K with ace 10 offsuit. Matt's not going anywhere with king jack offsuit. Makes the call in the small blind. Annie's not going away either. Here's Annie's 6. Although both players have 2 overs. It's actually not a bad card for Annie again. She now has an open-ended. Although a 9 would end up giving Katie the best hand. With a 10 high straight. Matt ends up making it 30K though. I'm going to try to take a stab at it. Feels like it's his only chance. Katie makes the call. There's Katie's 10. Matt's going to have to take another stab at this pot if he wants to win it.
That is 50,000.
Makes it 50,000. Katie has made some great calls in previous tournaments before. Depending if Matt is actually bluffing here, why wouldn't he shove his remaining stack in? Questioning whether or not that's actually a value bet or a bluff. Katie makes the correct call with the pair of 10s.
Very nice.
I think in all in there, might have possibly won that one for Matt. But now he is down to 2 big blinds. He is back down to the shortest stack at the table.
What he says, it's something else. No, I know what No, I know. who
Action
you
is
are.
to Bernie.
Whatever.
Also the short stack at the table.
I remember what the table movie was called, but I guess it's fucking hilarious.
He's going to wait for a better time. Looks like it gets folded all the way down to the small blind here. It just gives the big blind a walk.
That was more, and I miss when people actually knew how to play those games. That's why I miss Dave Minnie's old games. Where
Like
he was using
Getting
bust
folded
out.
around
You
again
could play
to
on
Annie,
cash,
who is now on the button.
choice,
Although she's going to be contending with some of the bigger stacks at the table. And big stack gets a walk.
You'd host the tournament,
That's 2 walks we've seen here.
but you'd host
Bernie
the
decides
tournament,
now's the time. King Jack offsuit.
lasts probably about a
Puts
month.
his remaining stack into the pot.
If you got a bunch of PLO players, you're gonna have trouble with it.
I really like these cards. Very early
Sebastian folds ace 2 suited.
would've done that.
Call
If you would've done
27.
Matt decides ace 2 is good enough for him. He puts it in.
I don't know, I find short decks really kind of risky.
36K for Katie to call here. She folds. Just laying on the big blind folds as well. It's like Matt is the one who is at risk here.
Yeah.
Matt does have the best hand here, but there's the jack for Bernie. Matt is going to need some help, but he does not get the card that he needs. He gets eliminated in 8th place.
Yeah, I appreciate it coming.
Bernie gets a nice little double up that he needed. Still under 10 big blinds, though. We do have some pretty short stacks at this table.
Justin Tools, just down the road. Take care of it.
There's lots of times tonight I forgot to put my cars in there.
Oh, really? I haven't noticed one time, so. It must be reading somehow.
Sean shoves all in with ace 2 suited. 121K. quite a large shove here. Katie has him crushed with ace-8. Decides that that's too much. John's really going after the blinds and antes. Putting some pressure on Bernie, the short stack. Annie's got a nice little hand here. Ace-9 suited of hearts. She's under 10 big blinds here. She decides that now is the time. Shoves all in. Katie's got a nice hand too. King, queen offsuit. Katie calls. Annie's tournament life is at risk here. 60-40 situation.
Oh, no, okay, I thought that was king jack hearts.
There's Annie's ace. Katie's going to need a 10. Does not get it. Annie gets a nice little double up.
Double up.
Double up.
For the blind. The good one.
Puts Annie at 15 big blinds now with 159K. Peter and Bernie are still very short stacked at the table.
One more.
All in.
Sebastian shoves all in with ace queen against the small stack. Calls instantly. Can't blame him for getting it in here. Already had too much of his money in the pot. Terrible flop for him. Now he's only looking for a 6. He's got 2 outs, and there it is on the turn. Unbelievable. Peter hits the 6 that he needed to win that pot. Sebastian had him crushed.
Oh, yeah, right. You're a big blind. That makes sense.
Peter manages to stay alive in this tournament. Must be ecstatic about that. Looks like it actually gets folded over to Peter in the small blind, who shoves his remaining stack in with king 10 offsuit. Looking like this is probably going to get through here. Annie's got 6-5. It's about a third of her stack if she wants to make that call. She lets it go. I'm sure Peter probably doesn't mind.
No, there hasn't been that game after.
Action gets folded over to Ghislaine, who has ace-6 suited.
That's 30.
Makes it 30K to go. Actually gets folded over to Annie. King 10 offsuit in the small blind. She lets it go. Got Jean, who's in the big blind, 20K. More to him.
Yeah, because the truth is, it probably won't be a filmed one. Like, it's
No,
probably
no.
something I'll probably play myself.
Yeah.
Just because I kind of want to play.
Not well with play.
Where's this tournament?
Looks like he just lets it go. Ghislaine takes down those blinds and antes.
I want it.
Bernie decides that now is the time.
All in.
King 10 suited. Fires an all-in bet for 68K. Jean shoves his remaining stack in, 121K. Katie quickly folds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bernie is crushed here.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I doubled up against aces with that.
73% for Jean to win this pot.
That's my one of my lucky cards.
Looking for a 10 only.
Just like you did.
Yes, and
Both hit their king, but Jean's jack plays as a kicker. Bernie ends up getting eliminated in 7th place.
No, it's not.
We are now 6-handed at this table, which means that the ante is going to get cut in half to offer more play to the players. So it's only 5K now instead of 10. But the blinds ended up going up. We are now 6,000, 12,000 with a 6,000 big blind ante.
That is
Annie with ace-9.
26, sorry.
She's going to try to take a stab at this. Katie, let's go the king 10.
Greenfoot's having a good,
It's like she might be thinking about defending her big blind. Nope, she lets it go. Annie takes down those blinds and antes.
the Delta, Our Lady Peace.
Peter shoves all in here, 5-4 offsuit. It's going to be big blind next hand. Runs into Annie's ace-king suited. Curious to know if she's going to shove over top of this,
I don't know.
which she does.
58,000.
It's going to put a lot of pressure on these players.
I got caught playing a steal. Oh, my card's alive though.
That's right, Peter is live. Although Annie, 75% to win this pot. Peter's going to need some help. Not a very good board for him. But he is looking for a 6 now for a straight. Adds to his outs, which he does not get on the river. Peter ends up getting eliminated in 6th place. And we see Katie is still the biggest stack at the table.
Yeah, I always ask this.
Annie is 2nd place with 20 big blinds.
Yeah,
As long as everyone agrees.
yeah, everybody has
Everybody.
But the players are talking about a possible deal.
20 from each place, I guess.
You guys okay? I don't know, I didn't hear from Katie or Jean.
That's how we
Waiting for
did
Katie,
last
just
time.
Yeah, Katie's
Yeah, I
the
guess Katie is.
chief. Katie is the chief leader, so she should have a set.
Not a big fan usually, but
Right.
I'm the only
It don't
person
matter to
saying,
me.
no, I'm not gonna be that guy.
No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll, Katie does it.
It's like Katie declines the deal. She is the biggest stack at the table.
So that is 30.
Players wanted to throw $20 to the bubble from each spot. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. The bubble will remain the money bubble.
You can set tournament director up to force it into whatever you want it to do. It's
Oh.
just,
That's good.
Ghislaine makes a fold out of turn here.
I got I saw the chips, I thought they were hers.
No, it's okay. It's just, it's in a weird position, you're right?
36.
Sebastian, pocket fives here. Gonna go after
Maybe I'll try that next
these
time.
blinds and antes.
They usually just kind of
Makes it 36 to go.
you can
You can
tell
set it up.
that, like, if there's this many runners type deal, I wanna pay this many places, whatever, or you can let it.
Like Jean wakes up with ace king here.
Well, you can force it to change just everything.
It's hard.
Looks like
for me
he's-
to- It's something I have to put in.
Thinking about what he wants to do here.
The turn it's going, because I don't know what.
Looks like he decides to 3-bet.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have to do the rebuys and add-ons and stuff, so.
Shoves all in.
Re-raise all in.
Sebastian wondering if he wants to put his tournament life on a coin flip here.
Yeah, well, usually the payouts are never announced till after.
Best case scenario would be a coin flip. That or Jean might have a better pocket pair. Sebastian might be crushed. Sean shows the ace
Got a
king.
pair.
I figured.
It's either you got a bigger
Can't mess
pair
with
or
it.
something like that.
It's one of those, like, most of the time I accept it. Just because, like, if it's invited by somebody that I know, it's kind of, there must be a reason why, so.
Sebastian pocket eights this time. We'll see if he can fold to an all in again.
Pretty sus.
So he makes the same bet, 36. It's like a 3x bet. Katie looking like she might want to defend here. The 10-7 offsuit. No, she lets it go. Sebastian takes down the blinds and
Really
antes.
was strong.
Shows the pocket eights.
Is that
10.
Moving into the next hand here. Action gets folded over to the button. Gets folded over to the small blind. Katie limps in. Hoping Ghislaine just wants to play a small pot,
32 total?
which she does not. Makes it 32 more. Annie now with the pocket fives. Under the gun.
Action's Annie. Makes it 33.
33 to go. Katie calls on the button with ace-6 suited. Both Ghislaine and Sebastian fold. Got a heads-up pot. 90K in the middle already. Annie was still the best hand here with pocket fives.
That's 33.
Makes it 33 again. Katie's going to be looking for an ace or a 6 here.
Call.
She decides that she's going to float on this flop. The heart comes down. Is Annie going to take another stab at it? She does not. She slows down. Katie's going to take advantage and start being a little bit more aggressive here. Makes it 55 to go. Certainly putting Annie in a really tough spot. That heart came down on the turn, completing a flush, or a possible flush. Really going to put her in a tough spot. She lets it go. Katie, her bluff gets through. A great float on that flop for her. Made a great decision. Sebastian gets pocket queens yet again.
Make it 40.
Tripled up with this hand previously. Out of position here. Makes it 40K. And he's got pocket sevens.
40 on top. Is this?
48 total.
It's gotta be 40 though. You said make it 40, right?
No,
So
you said
40.
you said 48.
Did you say 48? Okay, sorry. My mistake. Thanks for the correction.
Looks like it was 48K to go. Annie must be debating whether or not to get it all in here. She's gonna get the bad news if she does, though. She does. She shoves all in. Sebastian, there's no way he's getting away from this hand. And we hear that sound that the blinds will be going up next hand.
I'll call.
Shows the pocket queens. Annie is not happy about that. Nice little smirk. She's gonna need a 7 here. She does not get it on that flop. Only 2 outs left in the deck. Third heart comes down. No player has a heart. Sebastian's queens hold up. Annie is the money bubble. Gets eliminated in 5th place. That win ends up adding to Sebastian's stack. Makes him 2nd biggest stack at the table now.
He did go 48.
Yeah. Speaking of.
Yeah, Annie, I appreciate you coming. Glad you can make it here. Shoot bigger. Wait a second here. Was that in when the blinds went up? Or I think the blinds went up during that all-in hand, didn't it?
They must have.
Yeah,
because
because-
we're
Yeah,
gonna-
yeah, it's 8 and 16. So it's 800, 8,000.
We have a dead small here. It's just the big blind that has his money into this pot. Sebastian ends up with the good old 7-2 on the button.
Yeah, what the?
Lets him take his money back.
Seven.
Doesn't look like he probably would have been getting away from that ace jack though, so.
I asked you.
Ultimate sacrifice.
Action is to Ghislaine here now. She folds. Sebastian folds. Folds it all around to the blinds. Jean's got ace 10 offsuit in the small blind. Makes it 44 to go. Katie's got pocket 4s. Katie's not getting away from it. We're going to see a flop here. This pot could go either way. There's Jean's ace. Katie's now running to her 4s to win this pot.
That is 37.
Katie lets it go.
Every month.
They've had one every
Yeah,
month.
every month.
Like one tournament or series
One
of
tournament.
tournaments? Oh.
They've been 330s, 440s, 550s, 660s,
We've
770s,
had-
or 1100s.
We've had an
like,
1100.
Pretty much all year. 2 11s this year.
When you go, should
Because
you
one of those
be-
was one of the ones that Maverick chopped out.
1100? That's a,
The one that split like 6 ways or whatever that
yeah,
they chopped a bunch of.
it would still be a decent, especially if you're like satellite in through like friends and shit.
53.
Someone's buying.
Sean's gonna-
action.
Put some pressure on these blinds. Makes it 53 with Jack 9 offsuit.
25.
Yes.
Okay.
But Ghislaine
Yeah,
wakes up with ace king on her big blind.
Saturday,
Come on.
25. but
All in
I think that
Puts
was
max
fair.
pressure back onto Jean.
We do 25-25 to start.
Yeah, and they have 30-minute levels too, so it's not.
And on the final day, we'd scale back the blinds
Yeah,
to
they usually
4 and
roll back.
800 to start. So it would give everyone 20.
Looks like Jean's actually thinking about making a call here.
Oh, it's a big blind, that's why. It's more than what I said. 180, 189.
This is 100 right there. 100, 120.
Looks like we're gonna confirm what the all-in actually is to make sure the tablet's actually right.
Yeah, that's right. That's 100. That's
120.
120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 89. 189.
It's gonna take quite a chunk out of Jean if he makes this call. At least half of his stack. He lets it go. Ghislaine takes down that pot. John's got ace-5 suited here. He's gonna try to take a stab at it. Shoves all in,
48,000.
putting max pressure to try to take down these blinds and antes. Looking like it's going to work.
Braggy, the streamer, poker streamer from the UK.
I know. Fortunately, I haven't kept up with
Katie's gonna
He's in my
put some
phone.
pressure here.
yeah. I haven't kept up with it at all. Like, after I took my little break from poker for a couple of years, it was. I used to be like really into it, like Jamie Staples and LP and all them that were streaming, like that were the big streamers then.
Looks like we might have a graphical error here. It says that Katie just called.
Oh, who are you
I've been
on?
on Facebook. I actually added him to the poker group.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he only lives in Montreal. It's not too far, but.
See, Katie is the biggest stack at the table still.
One of the-
Um,
one of the pros.
The rest of the players are relatively even,
Yeah.
considering what the blinds and antes are. Still anybody's game here. Katie gets a nice little walk.
I didn't know what I had.
The whole
At a certain
online
point,
thing just
the old
changed the
school
whole.
game doesn't serve them very well anymore because there's too many new people that
I
just
remember
have too much
reading the
coming out.
super system. I remember reading the super system. Like,
Yeah, well, it
like
was
15
great
years
in
ago, and thinking like
2005.
Yeah.
thinking back then, like this seems a little fucking outdated by now.
Yeah.
I remember Jennifer Harmon's.
It's like Katie and Ghislaine are gonna
poker.
fight for this
Pretty much
pot,
the
a small
entire
blind versus
poker
big blind.
was, If anyone gives you action, raise.
Katie
They
completely
raised
missed
her-
this flop.
raised them
Looking like
again,
she's
see
gonna
what
try
it
to take a
is.
stab at it.
She was good though.
Ghislaine lets it go.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need 8,000 for an ante.
What was that?
So 99% of the time when somebody's bitching that they can't get people to fold, I'm always like, yeah, I don't doubt it. It's usually like some wild card in there with any combination that.
Yeah,
Because they
that's
can't
why,
get
that's why
busted.
they can't get
I'm like,
people
dude,
to
you
fold.
busted
because-
6.
Actions to Katie now. Ace 8 offsuit.
Makes it 35.
Gonna continue with that pressure. Ghislaine makes the call on the button. King 10 offsuit. Jean lets it go. Got a heads up to the spot. Katie still with the best hand with ace high.
It is 25.
Katie lowers her bet sizing a little bit. Makes it 25K.
Call it.
Ghislaine decides that she's going to float.
Okay, yeah.
There's Katie's ace.
That's the first time that's happened.
No
So.
worries.
Katie putting a pretty sizable bet here.
It is 45. 85.
Ghislaine lets it go.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, if something goes wrong, I always really.
So clock and then bottom.
No, we're
Yeah,
gonna play
we're
this
playing
hand.
this
We'll play
hand.
this hand.
Play this hand.
Give you guys a little bit extra play.
Oh,
It says 216,000.
200, more than that.
Jean shoves all in here. Ace 9 offsuit is going to take down that pot. Players are really trying to get to that money jump. Sebastian, ace queen.
48.
48, yeah. I don't know why, but I keep hearing 40.
Good in French.
Is it? Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
Just laying here, ace 3 offsuit in the big blind.
Most of the area for-
Not a bad hand to defend with, but Sebastian has her crushed. Ghislaine makes the correct laydown. Like Jean's eyeing those blinds and antes again. Got a nice little suited connector here, 7-6 suited.
Like you drew it, that's it? Wow.
It does sound like the blinds now, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
That
That's
is
funny. Bet 40.
exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
Parrot in the background, mimicking the blinds going up, maybe trying to make these short stacks a little nervous.
Making all those short stacks nervous. right?
Jean makes it 40K to go. Sebastian wakes up with pocket tens. Great spot for him to squeeze.
We leave gaps. We were quiet for a while, you know.
I usually wake up when everyone leaves, because I transfer
Oh,
everything over.
Shoves all in.
313,000 all in, plus his big boy.
329.
It's going to be a great pot for Sebastian to win if they all fold. Either way, he has all the players crushed here. I am a bit surprised that Jean's actually thinking about making the call here. He lets it go. As does Katie. Katie lets it go. Sebastian picks up that little squeeze. Takes down a good-sized pot. Now Katie wakes up with the tens. The very next hand. Blinds are 10,000, 20,000 with a 10K big blind ante. Looks like she makes it 40K. Sebastian's got ace jack. Curious if he's going to put his newfound chips to use. Sebastian 3-bets to 160. A very sizable bet. Looks like Katie does have Sebastian covered here, despite what the graphics say here on the computer there. We had the system go down previously, so a couple things got screwed up. Katie does have him covered. It's like Katie makes the call. Wants to play it a little bit safe and see a flop. Great flop for Katie. Her 10s are an overpair.
Over.
Call.
Sebastian shoves all in. Katie quickly calls.
Had 2 overs.
Could have been all in pre-flop anyway, but Sebastian's looking for an ace or a jack, and he does not get it. Sebastian ends up in 4th place, ends up winning $200.
You got more than that.
As I said, the graphics are wrong here.
Did you call a whole 160
Yeah,
before?
that whole system thing threw up all the stats.
We're going to take a small break
79 and successive coverage.
to pay out Sebastian here, and I think we're going to chip up all of the yellow chips, which are 1,000 chips. They are no longer needed.
No, I think you got him covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also fix some of the errors that tablet was causing
Oh, good game, people.
when it went down randomly.
Good game.
Katie finally gets her fist pump. She's been waiting all night to get that.
Yeah, it would be
I can
closer.
get, I can
Closer
get a
game.
seat if you want one. I don't know how bad you want one, but. The tournament's fine, Glenn's running the tournament, so it's totally fine, but the cash game's a bit of a shit show.
It's like Jean's gonna limp in here on the small blind. Katie's gonna check behind with her queen jack. Ooh, 3 hearts come down. Jean's got the only heart. Looks like he checks. Katie takes a small stab at it, makes it 20K. Jean quickly calls. There's Jean's heart. Katie is only running to 1 out to chop this pot. So you can see she's running to the 4 of hearts to put a straight flush on the board. She puts a lot of pressure here, though.
160,000.
Puts Jean all in. Jean is wondering if his heart is good here. We know it is, but it's going to be a tough decision. He folds.
I think that's supposed to be my job.
Calling Katie and Bully here. You can see that Katie has a million chips in play. Jean and Ghislaine are in terrible shape. 140K and 130K. Katie is a massive stack at this final table. three-handed. Katie limps in here with 9-5. Ghislaine shoves all in. Katie quickly folds. Katie's on the button here. Ace 3 suited. Puts on some pressure. And these short stacks. Jean makes the call. Both players miss. Katie's ace high is still the best hand. Jean shoves all in. Katie folds her ace high face up. Jean takes down that pot. Got Ghislaine now, ace 7 suited on the button. Decides now is the time. 140K. Jean's got ace 4 suited.
34, 110.
Jean makes the call. Katie quickly lays down her hand. Jean's going to need some help here. Ghislaine's got him crushed with the 7s. It could be a split pot, though. Got a backdoor club draw now. Now he's got a ton of outs, pairing the board. It's a split pot.
Just take 20 and give me 5.
Both players are just playing with their ace here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He gets what?
Vertigo, like head spinning and nauseous.
Really?
I haven't seen them
Some like a year ago.
Oh,
That's 2
Jean shoves all in. Ace 4 off suit.
He
Katie quickly lays down the queen 10 off suit.
Charlie
But Ghislaine says it's good enough for her, and she puts her remaining stack in.
145.
Got another all-in situation here between the two short stacks.
here's one.
Jean's got the best hand here now. 65% to win this pot pre-flop. There's Ghislaine's queen. Although Jean ends up hitting a gut shot.
Nice.
Now he's only running to the 5, and there it is! Unbelievable! Jean hits his 5 on the river, eliminating Ghislaine in 3rd place. Ghislaine ends up taking home $400.
Thanks, Dave, for having me.
Very unlucky for Ghislaine there,
You were the big
but that is poker. We're now going heads up. Katie still has an overwhelming amount of chips compared to Jean.
It's getting late.
That's 45.
I can't count.
Katie makes it 45 on the button. Jean quickly calls, defending his big blind with 6-4 offsuit. Not a terrible flop for Jean. He ends up hitting a gut shot, but we know that his 6 or a 4 is also good for an out.
65.
But Katie's going to continue putting on that pressure. Makes it 65. It's a good chunk of Jean's stack. He calls. That must worry Katie a little bit. And there's the third spade coming down, completing the flush draw that was on the board.
That's a check. I checked the other yesterday, so.
John checks behind. Katie's now got a king high flush draw. Katie's grabbing a stack of 10,000 chips, putting Jean all in. Jean quickly folds. Katie taking down that first heads up pot. Sean's got 9-7 suited here. All in on the button.
140,
Katie with queen 8 of clubs.
Oh,
She calls. Katie with the best hand. We got a 60-40 situation. Katie has a chance to win the tournament here and now.
Oh, it's because you're small one. Sorry. Yeah. No, it's 250. Alright.
This is it. Is Jean going to be able to stay alive here? Jean ends up hitting a pair of 7s, giving him the best hand now. Katie is now drawing to quite a few outs. There's her 8. Katie ends up winning the tournament, hitting a pair of 8s on the river. Jean ends up getting second place, takes home $600. Katie taking home first place with $800. Congratulations to both these players. Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of All Out Poker's Rebuy and Add-on Tournament. I am your host and commentator, Dave Frazier. Good night.
Get some more blacks back, browns. Hey,
Huh?
couple of brownies, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Fill up all the greens. Just what I put in. I put in 2.
Oh, you put it. Do you want the hundreds?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you can have 2 from here.
Where's that?
They're right there.